congratulations, all that. But you mentioned before the game about Doc setting those guys the last 7 games. Has that crossed your mind at all?
It's crossed my mind.
How often? Like, is this something you're considering doing? Is sitting these guys for a long stretch here at the end of the regular
I don't know,
season?
Jason. I might get in trouble. So I don't know.
Well, if you tell us ahead of time, you won't.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it. You know, I know a lot of guys are tired, and you know, with Kyrie and LeBron having to carry the load with Kevin and JR being out so long and having to do so much, they're pretty worn down. But like I said, a lot of the teams, a lot of the players are too. So that's no excuse. When you got one of the top 3 point guards in the league and the best player in the world, that's your job. You're supposed to carry us and do what you do, what you've been doing. And we weathered a tough storm. We weathered a tough storm, and I told those guys that earlier today. We went through a lot, and I don't know if a lot of teams could have handled that, and we did it. And here we are, still, like you said, jockeying for first and second position. And I just think we're in good shape. We got to play better. We know that, but no need to panic.
Are you concerned with JR? He wasn't playing well before he got hurt. His numbers have not been good since he came back.
With JR, it's a lot, and to miss training camp, because of the contract situation, and then to come in and finally try to get your legs under you, and then you get hurt and you're out for 3 months. So this is kind of like his training camp and his preseason, and then all the other things that's going on, as far as family and things like that. So it's got to be tough on him. I just got to keep talking to him and just tell him he doesn't depressed. We're behind him 100%, and we respect him. And we always, like I said, his daughter Dakota's in our prayers, and he's got to work through it. And basketball is our life, but it's not the only life that you have. So you got to understand that, and so we just stay with him, stay positive.
All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.